Greetings viewers, welcome to today's video. It's a mixture of my recent finds, which there are only a handful of items, and some items I got at yesterday's CollectorCon Collectormania event in Newcastle that I went to. First up, the latest Australian cars, the collection. This time, the 1966 Ford Mustang hardtop. Inside you got a picture of the diecast model, some stats of the car. But the interesting thing about this model and the magazine is it shows pictures and stories. Well, there's an ad for the Ampol Petroleum Company, and it's a Shelby GT 500 hardtop, which, like the one here, is a 2+2, as they called the fastback style of Mustang. See, 2+2, 2 seats in the front, 2 in the back, I'm pretty sure. But not one Mustang coupe. It's even got a picture of Alan Moffat's later 69 Carcraft Mustang. Next issue is the Austin 1800 Kimberley from 1970s. I mean, that is a pretty interesting car. A man across the road from me had one of these for a number of years, and it was a cream colour. And being an older fellow, I think he was a returned veteran. He kept his in really good order, so that's why I'd like to have this model, because it's not your typical Ford, Holden, Valiant. And some collectors of this series, they don't like seeing cars like this. I mean, there's some collectors that only collect the Fords or Holdens. And I mean, I'm a Ford person, but when it comes to models, I mean, it's good to have a representation of other cars. But that is an interesting car. As you see from the model, this is a notchback. And it's a really nice colour. The grille details are okay, but I don't know how accurate they are. But I really like the wheels. That's nice detail. I think the roof line on this car's a little bit too low. It's more like the fastback. Being that this car's for the Australian market, it's right-hand drive, because Ford actually did import something like 200 of these in 1966 to celebrate the beginning of the XR Falcon series, which they called Mustang Bread. The windscreen wipers on this, I don't know whether the real car, they were back to front like this. Like, they're positioned for a left-hand drive car rather than the right for Australia, but because they don't have any pictures in that magazine of the Australian ones, I don't know whether this is accurate or not. It could be. But anyway, it's a pretty nice model. Now, these are more or less repeats of what I got last week because I did get these in a long card, but of cars I really like, I'll get a short card as well. And, of course, following the Jaguar Mark 1 is the Jaguar XRC, which I did remember as a race car from the 70s that I seen in, I don't know, maybe a picture book or something. I mean, they raced in England. The team was a company called Broadspeed, which I think also made a little Mini and turned it into a fastback conversion. The original car had a few different drivers, but one that stands out to me as a Ford person was a driver by the name of Andy Rouse, who would become quite synonymous with the Ford Sierras, racing at Bathurst in Australia with Alan Moffat in 1987, and then with former Holden driver at the time, Peter Brock, in 89 and 90. I don't know whether Rouse came to Australia in 88. Maybe he did. I knew he raced a Triumph Dolomite, and Triumph were part of the British Leyland Group, I think. Yeah, so anyway. And another update I got was the Mercedes 500E. Because it's good colour, or great colour on a great casting. Next up is a Polestar 3, which I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think Polestar is linked to Volvo. Right, get this model out. It's not too bad. It's a semi-sporty looking sports utility vehicle, and it has the opening doors. Reminds me, I think, of the Porsche last week. That was a bit tricky to open one of the doors. Rolls okay. Now I'll move on to the the purchases I made yesterday. Now I got this Long Gone. It was in a protector case, so the card's in quite nice condition. I got this one because I've got the black F100 panel van. Yeah, so that's probably the main reason I bought this one. And plus you don't see this casting done a lot. Yeah, the custom Volkswagen's another one that's quite nice from this Just Born series, I think it is. And the Chevy Nomad Delivery, it's a 56 model. That's a good casting. I don't know about the livery on it. The El Camino would have been good, but I don't really like the paint scheme. I mean, it's probably original to the brand it's carrying. And the Chevy Astro van, not such a big fan. I don't know what hot tamales are, whether they're some sort of spicy chip or peanuts, who knows. But it's a nice casting. Spectra Flame Red, maybe? And it came in a protector case, which was really nice too. Next up's one I definitely couldn't find in the shops. Also in a protector case, but looks great out of it. It's a pretty ordinary colour, this one, but I've known a few people that owned 60s or FJ60 wagons in this colour. Although I don't think one of them had the lift-up tailgate. I think all three of them had barn doors on the back. But that's a great casting. Pity they're hard to find when they come out, but I got one and it wasn't too expensive, so. This one's an addition to my boulevards. This is one I missed. I'm still missing the Plymouth at the top and the Honda, but I've got the Honda in a twin pack. But still, it'd be good to get it as part of the Boulevard range. Speaking of twin sets, I noticed someone had this one for sale. The Ford Escort RS Cosworth and the 1987 Ford Sierra Cosworth, they're calling it, but it should have RS Cosworth. I've already got the Escort Cosworth. Sorry, there I'm repeating. Hot Wheels mistake, the Ford Escort RS Cosworth. I've got that as a Boulevard, I think it is. The difference with this and the other similar Escort to this in the main lines, the other one's based on a World Rally car, I think they called it. Even though this one also competed in the World Rally Championship. The other one was just an Escort WRC. Yeah, this one is very similar to the livery the Dick Johnson Racing Sierras used. More towards, I think, 92. Got one of the older opening parts. Well, they're not that old. They're, I think, 2 to 3 years old since they moved away from this type of packaging. I mean, this type of packaging's all right on the pegs, but bit awkward to sit up. But anyway, that's a nice casting, and these were only $5 each, which is close to what they would have been new. They might have been $4 when Big W was selling these. So, not too bad for a slightly better Matchbox. At least they got all the headlight detail and even badging on them. Tail lights. And I did get another Mercedes-Benz. This is a W123 wagon. I do like these in the basic range, I guess you'd call them, so. Yeah, I like it even more in the Collector series. This is a service van, which is interesting as it's got a sunroof, which is a bit luxurious for a service van. That one's quite nice. These 3 Matchbox I've just shown, they're all from the same seller for $5, which I didn't think was too bad. This one here is, of course, a London Taxi or a Austin FX. Interesting in white and black rather than just all black. That's why I bought it. I thought that's great, and it's only $5. The fellow selling it had just given me a $5 note because I'd gave him a $20 note, and I noticed this car was sitting in a bag that he had a few other Hot Wheels. It's got a little flea bite or two here and there, but that doesn't matter. It's still a nice casting, and it's in pretty good condition. I'm not sure which year this would be from, because a lot of the time the year on the car was when it was first cast, so updates, I don't know. I do like that because I've got My custom one, I've still got to finish off. When I was showing my wife that white one, I said, I think mine, I've taken the motorbike off the back, but this one, I do still have it there. I took the motorbike off a Volkswagen Sunagon van I've got. Yeah, but it's a good casting. I've got to find a set of wheels for this. This was originally a red one with the white canopy like that one. The funny thing is they're a similar size or height, even though this one's got its wheels removed. They got the same chassis. Huh. Yeah, so anyway, I will eventually finish this one. It'd be nice to put its original rubber wheels back on, but they went missing years ago. I've still got the wheels, but not the rubber tyres. I must have taken them off to put on another vehicle. And one of the wheels was damaged. I think that's why I made the change, but this would look all right with a fancy set of wheels on it. And from the same seller, I got this one, and this one definitely wasn't $5 like the others, because this was is a Datsun 510, and it looks so much better with the detail of the lights, badge on the boot, headlights. They've painted the details on the roof. Yeah, I mean at 20, it's a little bit dearer, but I think this was sought after and it's a fair price. I wish they had matching coloured wheels, but that's just the model. Now I got this one as a trade on a car I had for sale. Well, he wanted to do a trade, and the guy valued this at $5, so I was happy for him to select something similar in price. Well, even if it was one I had for $10, it wouldn't have worried me too much to swap, I guess, because this is a treasure hunt. Even if this one wasn't a treasure hunt, I really wanted to get it anyway because it's a nice colour, and I do like the Honda City casting. And this one, of course, is another Honda. This is also a treasure hunt, a Honda S800. Unfortunately, because they're a fairly nice treasure hunt, they're sought after. If it's one of the silly fantasy car treasure hunts, you can get lucky and find those on the pegs, but This one wasn't too expensive, so I was happy to get it. This one's also a treasure hunt. Chevy Fleet Line. And I was wondering where the treasure hunt logo is. And it's in the police logo, which is pretty clever. You know, it's not just randomly placed on the car somewhere. It's in the police shield. Now, this one here is a Subaru Forester from the Fast Wagon series. I would have loved to have found this on the pegs, but alas, no such luck. I've got the other 4 cars from the set, but I was missing the Forester, so it's good to get this one. And it is a good casting, so I can understand it being popular. Yeah, very happy to get this. This was from the same seller I got the RS Cosworths. These 2 treasure hunts. Now, one thing I didn't have in my collection, I didn't have any of these Series 1 Oswheels. This one's a HQ custom. This one might be more of a basic spec. I don't know what the badging is on that. Could be a Kingswood badge. Yeah, is it a Belmont? But I'm a big fan of bright greens, so that's one reason I selected this one. This one here's another HQ GTS, but this time in what I initially thought was metallic purple, but this is a gloss purple, which I still like. It's a nice colour. But I like them all. 3 different sets of wheels. This one's got the original GTS wheels on it. And the other pair have got, you know, different alloy wheels. Those wheels very similar to what would later appear on the handful. One thing Hot Wheels have over them is these premiums have always had clear glass. Like their $2 basics have clear glass and interior. And those early Oswheels, well, as long as the outside looked all right, that was good enough for them. Those Oswheels, they were $10 each, which is pretty fair because when they were released, I think they were $12. So, and because they're from last year and harder to get, I was pretty impressed with that seller's prices. I could have bought more, but I think three of a similar car's enough. I also got this Land Cruiser off that same seller. all in all, that day yesterday was really good. It was a bit long. Stood up all day because I didn't pack a pair of chairs, and unfortunately there were no chairs supplied. So that made it a long day in a way. And also for my daughter that came to assist me, having her there allowed me to go and look at other people's stands and, do other things. Not that I was away from the table very long, because it was in the Newcastle Showground complex. It was in the exhibition building, which I think at one stage back in the 80s was used as a roller skating rink when not used by the show. And also they had a farmer's market on, which people can buy fruit, vegetables, meat, and all sorts of things, food related, and I think maybe house plants and outdoor plants. I've never been to one, so I don't know. But yeah, it was a good day, but I believe having CollectorCon on made it hard for people visiting the markets, the farmer markets, because so many cars were parked in the car park for the CollectorCon event, because there was a good roll-up of crowd. It was different to the Diecast swap meet that I went to. As I said in a post, it was good at the end of the day that my car started straight away, whereas I couldn't get it started a month ago at the swap meet. And I was without the car for 2 to 3 weeks while I waited for it to be repaired, because my wife's little Nissan SUV's got a clutch or gearbox issue, and that's been out of action even longer. It's lucky my daughter that was learning to drive has a car of her own that my wife's been able to borrow. It's a bit unfortunate because my daughter did get a P plates or provisional license the other day, and hopefully my wife's car will be fixed soon. It was a good day. I sold a fair bit of diecast, even though I spent a bit on what I've got here. I've still got plenty left over for future events and swap meets. But the beauty of selling all this, other than allowing me to buy some nice die-casts that I didn't have, it gives me a little bit of money that I can put away for my 2 project cars. So this money definitely be a big boost. Well, drawing to a conclusion of my recent finds and CollectorCon event finds, I hope you like some of what I bought. It's a bit of variety. I will have another video out soon on something or other. Thanks for viewing. Goodbye.